Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Treyarch have been very cheeky here because there's a new teaser which is their profile picture on Twitter. It's not something they've tweeted out or put on YouTube or anything, it's just their profile picture that seems, at first glance, to just be the confirmation that there is a new perk coming out for Black Ops 4 Zombies alongside Alpha Omega. It's called, by the looks of things, Blood Wolf Bite. I've got it up on my phone here because, again, my setup is very temporary right now. I'm still moving everything around, so sorry for the mess behind me. But it seems to be Blood Wolf Bite, and you've got a wolf biting on some bones. Interesting that amongst all of the talk that we've been having about Eisen and the Wolf King, now we have Blood Wolf Bite. Don't know if there's anything we can really read in there, but maybe. I mean, Treyarch seemed to like wolves. But yeah, I'm not sure what the actual use of the perk is likely to be. If you've got any ideas, let me know in the comments down below. We've already got one that's affecting melee. We've already got one that's basically just sort of vulture AD. Maybe now it's going to be some kind of vampirism type thing where if the zombies hit you, you're able to like claim some health back or something like that. Like that might kind of tie in with Blood Wolf. I don't really know, but it's certainly something that we can speculate about in the comments down below. And that's not the main point of this video. The main point of this video is something that is in the background of the teaser that is very difficult to spot. I need to give a massive shout out to Tank Dempsey, aka Jumped Hades, on Twitter, who first tweeted me this so that I actually saw it because I would have missed the profile picture change otherwise. But Jumped Hades spotted that in the background of the perk, it's the new map, okay? It's Alpha Omega. And not only is it Alpha Omega, but on Alpha Omega, we have two very interesting things happening. One, we have what looks like ULTIMIS Dempsey's legs on the left-hand side of the image walking towards us. You can see those boots are very characteristic of ULTIMIS Dempsey. So ULTIMIS Dempsey appears to be present. That's the first thing. But then on the other side, we have PRIMIS Nikolai's arm. And again, it's pretty damn characteristic of PRIMIS Nikolai to have that metal band on his arm and the wire. It's him. So we have an actual crossover between PRIMIS and ULTIMIS. And this is something that we've speculated about, right? We've said, maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll end up getting some kind of crossover map where there are some members from each crew, but Treyarch did still have a full roster of ULTIMIS and a full roster of PRIMIS to use in the map if they wanted. PRIMIS would have been slightly altered because we would have had the pre-Blood Richtofen rather than post-Rev Richtofen most likely, filling the shoes of post-Blood Richtofen, but it's still a version of PRIMIS and it's still those four characters, and on the ULTIMIS side, we've just got regular old ULTIMIS ready to go whenever, so they could absolutely have picked, if they wanted to, having just the one or just the other. But now we have PRIMIS Nikolai, which makes sense, right? PRIMIS Nikolai makes a lot of sense because he is now the one leading the charge towards this great battle, right? He is really going to be the kind of glue that holds the entire group together from this point forwards. In fact, we heard from him in the intro cutscene to the map that they released last week, saying, I know that this is a burden that I have to carry now, and I sympathize with the German who must have had so much trouble with all of this for so many years, having this weight and guilt associated with everything that was going on, and now it's his burden to bear. He knows what must be done, and he will do it, and he hopes that everyone will have mercy on his soul, right? He's going to be in the map. That makes sense. But then ULTIMIS Dempsey? Okay, so they're playing with the idea of mixing things up. Will we get more members of PRIMIS now, or will it just be two more members of ULTIMIS? And if it's two more members of ULTIMIS, what are the other characters, the remaining characters, like PRIMIS Pre-Blood Richtofen, PRIMIS Takeo, and PRIMIS Dempsey, gonna go and do? Maybe that's going to be a chain of events that leads us eventually towards that Nuketown loading screen that we saw in the Zombies comic, and that also then got teased as being unwritten in, oh my god, it gets so confusing, unwritten in the intro cutscene. Is that an event that still does need to play out, or is that an event that has actually already happened and that's why it was unwritten after we saw the events of Blood of the Dead happening in the Chronorium in that intro? It's honestly hard to say. And I also want to mention, and this is something that I mentioned in a video the other day as well, before any of this happened, I was just sort of spitballing with some cool ideas. There's a chance here, and again, I think this is exceedingly unlikely because of the fact that it would require some tech implementation to get right, and a lot more writing as well. And both of those things are things that Treyarch are probably going to be kind of light on right now, or at least it's going to be harder for them to do more of, just because they're going to be working on the next game, they're going to be working on multiplayer and Blackout, and they're going to be strapped for resources. But I would love, sorry, car alarm outside, hopefully you can't hear that, I would love to see a map where PRIMIS Nikolai, for example, and ULTIMIS Dempsey were in the map one game, but then in the next game, it was PRIMIS Nikolai and a different person in ULTIMIS filling ULTIMIS Dempsey's place. What if they gave us a pool of, let's say, one fixed character, PRIMIS Nikolai, and then several other non-fixed characters, so a pool of maybe 6 characters that could cycle around, and we could end up with a selection of them when we played. That also could be a nice way of Treyarch sort of saying, as they normally do when we play a map with one player, you're doing the Easter egg here, but really you are with the other characters. Like, really, the canonical version is that those 4 characters go through and do that egg and then move on, or whatever happens in the story with the relevant map. This might be quite a nice way of them saying, that's still what we're going for, except we've got 6, 7, or 8 characters now that are really there, and while you only ever see 4 of those characters going through things, then when they get to the end of the game, and the end of the Easter egg rather, they could bring out the other characters as bots and use them as part of their in-game cutscene to fill out the entire kind of cast, if you like, and showcase what's happening with the full group as if they were there the whole time. That is totally something that they could do if they wanted to, and it would sort of solve the problem of the fact that we have 8 characters now in a group together, almost sort of 9 because of post-Rev Richtofen, so we've got a lot of characters and not a lot of players. And I'm sure they're going to be looking into using their bots in order to try and solve that problem, and I think that this is one way of doing that that could work really effectively. Let me know what you'd think of that in the comments down below. I would love it for story as well, because the more quotes that we get and the more inter-character conversations and things like that, the better. And we're gonna need it as we head towards DLC 4, because it's the end of Ether, they're gonna have a lot of explaining to do, and so the characters need to be able to talk. I also want to bring up the fact that, remember, during Gorod Krovi and then during Revelations in Black Ops 3, that was the time when we suddenly got more and even more dialogue. Those maps are super dialogue heavy compared to the maps that preceded them, and I guess that's because Craig Houston, for example, doesn't need to focus so much on things like the campaign. A lot of that stuff's been written. The other writers have already done their stuff for multiplayer and things like that, and so maybe there are some resources that get freed up that could get pointed towards those future Zombies DLC packs 3 and 4. And so that might have happened here as well, and that might be just more of an idea of why we're seeing inter-character conversation, or inter-character crossover, inter-crew crossover even, and all of that stuff. It's exciting, man. It's really exciting to have a crossover of crews like this in a Zombies map. Long overdue. Would have been cool to see this a while ago. I mean, we've sort of seen things like in Call of the Dead. You guys might remember obviously having the celebrity cast, but then also having the characters that we were familiar with behind the door, and the kind of back and forth that they had was really enjoyable. So it's sort of been done in a way before, but this could be a scale that we've never seen that could be really, really exciting. Now, it's worth, before we get too excited, and before we go too overboard with the theories, it's worth mentioning that there is a chance that it's just PRIMIS Nikolai, ULTIMIS Dempsey, and then 2 other characters, and that's it, and there's no cycling around. And it's also worth mentioning that it's possible that this is just for a trailer, and actually in the map, what's going to happen is the first thing we'll see is the ULTIMIS characters, for example, being the playable ones, and the PRIMIS characters all, I don't know, running onto the Nuketown bus and driving off with Ted with a full prosthetic skin over his metal head. Who knows? We just don't know how the map's going to start, and we don't know what sort of stuff they might be showing in this trailer that this looks like it's probably an excerpt from, is my guess. So this could go any direction right now, but whichever direction they choose, it's pretty exciting in my opinion. So thumbs up from me. Let me know also what you think the perk is going to be, and I'll see you guys very soon in more Zombies videos. I've got more coming this weekend. Tomorrow I'm going to be mainly trying to focus on sorting out this mess behind me, and then on Monday I'll be streaming when Treyarch do their announcement of the gameplay trailer, and we'll do a live breakdown, and it'll be really fun. We'll get hyped up for Alpha Omega. So look forward to that, guys. I'll see you there. 7 PM UK time, I believe. I think 11 AM Pacific. 2 p.m. Eastern, I think. I will double check those times, but I think that's when that's going to be. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I've been MrRoflWaffles. I'll see you then. Bye for now.